WZOZ-FM San Luis Obispo. Rocks.
Here we are.
Here we are.
On the third last day to September. When does October start? On Sunday? We got a few days left.
Is it Sunday?
And
today's Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
We lose an icon. Did you hear that Hugh Hefner died?
I heard that late last night. My wife told me as I was getting ready to go to sleep.
How do you not hear this stuff anymore?
I still went to sleep.
Everything starts going off.
I was pretty tired. Because I don't sign up. I don't sign up for it, and I have a no Facebook time, and that's pretty much when I'm at 10:01 a.m. That's when I stopped using Facebook.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Sometimes
I got it from CNN.
Sometime, well,
I got a notification from CNN.
You're signed up for too much stuff, then, if that's the case.
Well, breaking news, which now breaking news is not what it used to be. Breaking news was, oh my God, we had an earthquake. Oh my God, something terrible happened. Oh my God, a prisoner that's been in Afghanistan for the past 15 years just got released. Like stuff like that. Now breaking news is there's a car accident on the 101. Breaking news, there's a fire under the overpass on Los Valley Road.
Hugh Hefner dies.
Hugh Hefner dies. Always I'm trying to think of, not a miss, well.
What?
Kind of he's like a figure, like I don't know what I'm trying to say. Like he was always kind of this, I can't think of the word that I'm trying to use. He was like this, he wasn't like real to me as a young person. Like you always heard the name Hugh Hefner. It was like Mickey Mouse. It was kind of a mysterious.
He was a figure of lore, is what you're saying?
Yes, but there's a word for it. Mystic. No, not mystic. It doesn't matter. But I always looked at Hugh Hefner as like this person that wasn't like a real person. Like Walt Disney, I look at the same way. Mickey Mouse was a bad example because he passed on before my time, but you hear so much about him. Obviously in very different ways. Yes,
two different people.
Hugh Hefner meant just as much to me in my childhood growing up as Walt Disney did. I loved going to Disneyland. I'll never forget the first Playboy I looked at. I was over at my buddy Kevin Bailey's house, and his dad had a stack of Playboys in a cabinet in the garage.
Which articles would you read?
The ones with naked women in them, Jeff. And, we would get the ladder out at 12 years old, and we would climb up, and Kevin would check this out. And the weird part about it was once we got to, the third or fourth magazine, there was actually Polaroid pictures of people tucked into the magazines.
What?
And at the time, we're like, who are these people? Why is this woman blindfolded, and who's this naked guy behind her?
Oh, no.
Yeah. Never got it confirmed, but found out old Mr.
You found out too much about your friend's dad.
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
And his mom.
Oh no,
and his mom. For God's sakes, there she was with a blindfold on, kneeling down on the bed.
No.
Yes, this happened. And anyways, but there wasn't anything good there, and it was grainy because it was old Polaroids from probably the 70s. So we just chucked them aside, and we just kept looking at the magazine.
At the classfully, the tastefully done stuff, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't remember the issue. I don't remember who was on it. I have that fond memory, and that was my introduction into, dirty magazines. And then I got home, and I'm like, God, I bet my dad's got some of these. And then I realized my dad, he was into the Hustler mag. He had a stack of Hustler magazines.
He was into porn.
So now I'm starting to think, my dad's a pervert. Like, I didn't realize it at the time.
Playboy was okay.
Playboy was art.
I remember my dad telling me, Playboy's fine because it's just naked women. It's not disrespectful. This is my dad's rationale. It's not disrespectful. It is just, naked women who choose to be naked, and they're models, and they want the world to see their beauty.
Yeah.
That's what my father's explanation was. And then he would say, and plus I also get a subscription to Playboy because I like to read the articles. The articles
of course,
are good.
The articles. And
I asked him, I said, what are your favorite articles? What are the features? What are the features?
So you were a smart ass right from the get-go.
Yes, I was. And he's like, well, the jokes are good.
The jokes are good, right?
I don't know. I never looked at a Playboy for the jokes. I'm going to be honest here.
I remember a quarter way through is where the first naked girl would come in, and then in the middle would be the centerfold.
Yeah, you open
and
up.
then you'd have to go all the way to the end, and then they would have like a montage of naked women.
Yeah, the table of contents. There was always 3 areas, and in the table of contents, you just search for where those pages were in the table of contents. You're like, okay, I gotta go to page 36. 72 and 102, and then you go to those pages, and then you wouldn't read any of the articles in between. That's how my exposure was to it. We're asking people this morning that if they say that I like to read Playboy because of the articles, and we want to know what articles were so great in Playboy. Please, open our eyes to this one, 543-3693.
Here's Hef just talking about the philosophy of the magazine. Remember, he dropped out of college, and he started it with like just a few $1,000s.
The Playboy philosophy makes a case for life as a celebration, with a suggestion that there is more to life than simply a vale of tears, that life should be lived with a little style. And you can do that if you are wealthy or if you're working on relatively lesser means. I think it has to do with attitude on life.
There you go. And he's the reason why everybody would rather party than... he gave us the okay that it's okay to celebrate and party than work hard.
Is that gone away now? Are we just now going to work hard as a result? What's our outlet for celebration and party now?
Celebration and party is a drug.
Is it
stop
BuzzFeed? Is BuzzFeed our celebration and party now?
Well, remember, Playboy came back. Well, they never went away. They just went non-nude. I guess they went nude again.
Yeah, but I heard some statistic this morning on the way in. It said during the 70s they had a circulation of 7 million, and that was their peak. That was their heyday in the 70s and into the 80s. Now the circulation is only like 700,000, and those are just people that have lots of money and they just let their subscriptions lapse. I mean, is anybody reading Playboy anymore? I mean, when you get a magazine, I mean, can you even buy a Playboy magazine? Like
I couldn't answer any of these questions.
Where would you buy a Playboy magazine?
The 7-Eleven or something, right?
Barnes
like
and Noble
store.
Does Barnes and Nobles have Playboy magazines? I remember the airport always had Playboy magazines, and dudes would buy them and then read them on the plane. And my mom would get so mad at dudes that would read the Playboy on the plane because, there's a chance that, that centerfold would open up for everyone to see as you're reading one of those great articles that you buy the magazine for.
We're asking you on Facebook right now and Twitter if you read Playboy for the articles. What features did you like the most?
Yeah, there's
at
a
Jeff
lot of
Jeremy.
people. Everybody said, "Oh, yeah." Anybody who had a subscription to Playboy is like, "I have a subscription to Playboy, but I get it for the articles."
Jeff, Jimmy writes in, and apparently you two read more than I did because I would just thumb through for that first quarter where the first naked woman would be.
I would do the same thing, Jeremy. I would just go to the table of contents and look it up.
Well, that's what Jimmy says. He said the only articles he read was that one with the pages that talked about where the naked girls would be found. That was good reading.
That's the best reading that you could get right there.
And it taught you something as a young person.
It usually said like somewhere between 28 and 35, 70 and 80, and 102, 112.
You and Jimmy Ray that wrote in, Jeff, were working smarter, not harder. Yes. I was working harder. I was flipping. I could have just went to that table of contents.
You're like, no, and then you take fingers, and then you would go back and forth between the two. So you take a finger, you stick it in one of the what they call them, pictorials. One of the pictorials, and then the other pictorial, and then you would kind of go back and forth between all the pictorials.
I'm sure you don't have a Playboy in your house anymore.
No.
I have one. And it was the girls of the Pac-10 when we were in school at Washington State University, and they came through. And
we have one,
and I still have that one, and I hide it when I have guests because number one, I don't want them to find it and think I'm some kind of weirdo, and then I have to explain it. And number two, some of my guests, I don't want them to look at it when no one else is around.
I wonder what the girl that signed your Playboy.
There was a bunch of them that signed them
that we went to college with. because it was the girls in the Pac-10.
Right. Oregon was on the cover.
No, Oregon State was on the cover. That's that girl that
That's what I meant.
She's really, really successful. I forget her name.
She was a good-looking little beaver.
Yeah, she was. She was this blonde girl. Carrie Jean.
Wow, great memory.
Is her name Carrie Jean Underwood? I think it is. Because she does a lot of stuff now. She was on G4 as a host on G4 for a while now. She's just like basically an Instagram model, but she does a lot of spokesmodel stuff. But she was able to parlay that into a pretty good career. I mean,
for sure.
She lives the life of Riley.
Remember the Arizona State page? Like, come on, get out of here. Like, everybody else would just take a step back because that was unreal. And I was like, oh, now I know why all my friends wanted to go to Arizona State.
Yeah, Washington State was not like that at all. Like, the Washington State page was like, that's nice. And then you move on to Arizona State, UCLA. Stanford was always boring. But like the girls, the Pac-10, you always focused on Arizona State, Arizona, UCLA, and USC. Those were the four schools that you cared about in the girls of the Pac-10 issue.
I wonder if they'll continue. I mean, Playboy will continue on, and hopefully they'll continue to do those issues because they were.
I don't think so.
It was kind of a
really don't.
novelty to them.
I know it was cool. It was, but I mean, are women doing that anymore? Are women like, women
are doing that on Snapchat, for God's sakes.
Right. They have their own outlets, though. That's the thing. Like, you have your own Instagram page. You're going to do it. You're going to DIY it as opposed to going to the Playboy people and having them take pictures of you.
Let's see. Scott wrote in. He says, those interviews were really good. He didn't list any of the interviews that were his favorites. Thank you for contributing,
Those
Scott.
are the greatest interviews ever. Those ones I never read in Playboy.
93.3 KZOZ rocks Jeff and Jeremy in the morning.